I'm sure you guys are all aware, the United Healthcare CEO was assassinated in a brutal murder in New York. A terrible, terrible development. And Alika Laban noticed that a lot of Palestinian creators are justifying his death, saying, well, he was doing this and he was doing that, and his company was immoral, so to speak. And she lashed out at that crazy idea, rightfully, in a justified rant. Check it out.
Yesterday, the CEO of United Healthcare was assassinated in New York. People were shocked. They weren't shocked that he was assassinated, though. They were shocked at the reactions to his assassination, which was celebration and indifference. If you're shocked by that reaction, you may not have been paying attention to a pattern. That reaction is not an isolated incident. And that pattern is reflective of the direction that our society is headed in that you're going to miss if you're not paying attention. So I'm going to explain it to you. The celebration or indifference towards the assassination of this CEO is the same celebration or indifference that we saw towards October 7th. It's the same celebration or indifference that we saw towards the attempted assassination of Trump. It is the same celebration or indifference that we saw towards, remember the submarine deaths, the people that died in the submarine? So what do all of these groups have in common? What they have in common is that they've been designated as the oppressor. And because they've been designated as the oppressor, they can be disposed of. So where does this thinking come from? Well, it's rooted in Marxist ideology, where there's a framework of oppressed and oppressor. And the oppressed are always morally justified in whatever actions they take in furtherance of overthrowing the oppressor. Now, one need not be a philosopher to immediately identify the perils in this way of thinking, because can't anyone just be arbitrarily assigned the designation of oppressor and therefore their killing is justified? Why, yes. Why, yes. That's the first danger. Deciding that somebody is the oppressor, and because of that designation, deciding that they should be killed. That is exactly what happened on October 7th, when people said, well, Jews are white supremacists, and white supremacists are the oppressor, therefore it's okay to kill them. It is on that same basis that society decided that we need not feel compassion for those that died in the submarine. Why? Because they were wealthy, because they were millionaires. So why should we cry over the death of another millionaire? It is the idea that someone who is wealthy is inherently immoral and therefore deserving of death. This thinking is not a cure of society's ills. We did not cure the issue of human worth and classism. We just reversed it, where once the upper class were considered the good, the moral, the noble, and the lower class were considered the bad, the evil, and the immoral, we just switched those two things around. Now the wealthy are considered the immoral, the bad, the evil, the oppressor, and the poor, the oppressed, the marginalized are considered good, moral, can do no wrong. This reversal leads to the same problems, and that is why it is the brain rot. People are people. You judge them on the content of their character. So the first danger is arbitrary assignment of who's the oppressor. The second danger is that even if you determine that somebody or something is the oppressor, part of some oppressive system because they're a billionaire or CEO of a healthcare whatever, does that mean that we can actually kill them, even if they are the oppressor? And the answer is no. That's not what we do here, because this is not the Islamic Republic. This is a democratic republic where we change the system if we don't like it. The system is supposed to reflect us. Isn't that what Ruth Bader Ginsburg did? She didn't kill people that were enforcing discrimination on the basis of sex. She changed the system using the pen as her sword, her voice as the sword, and she made it unconstitutional to discriminate on the basis of sex. Isn't that what the civil rights leaders did? They didn't kill people that were discriminating on the basis of race. They made it unconstitutional to discriminate on the basis of race. Weren't these once your heroes and your icons? If your heroes and your icons are now assassins, shooters, jihadists, and terrorists, if that is the society that you are helping to create, you have no right to complain when society arbitrarily designates you, your family, your race, your people, your nationality, your wealth bracket, your sex, your sexual orientation as the oppressor, and because you are the oppressor, disposing of you by any means necessary is justified. Now, where have we seen that before?
Wow. Strong words from Malika Laban. I think the worldview that she's trying to point out is that regardless of the fact that you want to change something, the ends don't justify the means. You can't say, well, in the end, we're going to create an egalitarian communist society where everyone is equal, and therefore I can do X, Y, Z, because we've seen that in history. We've seen it with communism. We've seen it with all of these movements that have basically said, well, at the end, we're going to get to a dream reality. We just have to sacrifice all of these things to get there. And at the end of the day, it completely fails. It's completely immoral. And by any means necessary is not a useful slogan. For more, subscribe to this channel. If you want to help us make more of these videos, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JewishUncensored.